Welcome to today's lecture. Today we will be studying about the basal ganglia, also called as basal nuclei. Basal ganglia are large masses of grey matter which are situated in the cerebral hemisphere lateral to the thalamus. Anatomically, it consists of first is caudate nucleus, second is lentiform nucleus which includes globus pallidus and putamen, third is amygdaloid body, fourth is the claustrum. The caudate nucleus and the lentiform nucleus together constitute the corpus striatum. Functionally, the basal ganglia also include substantia nigra and the subthalamus. So if you see this picture in the section, what you can see, so this was the internal capsule, this is the thalamus, so this is the head of caudate nucleus. So you can see the basal ganglia is lying lateral to the thalamus. So this is the thalamus, so it is lying lateral to the thalamus. So here this head of caudate nucleus, this entire thing is the lentiform nucleus. So here you are having the putamen and this is the globus pallidus. And what you are having here, so this is called the claustrum. So in this picture, what you can see here, so this is the lentiform nucleus. So this is the caudate nucleus. What you're seeing here, this is the thalamus, this is the amygdaloid body. So you can see the caudate nucleus. So this portion is forming the head of caudate nucleus. Then this is the body, then this is the tail. So coming to the caudate nucleus, so what you're having here, this is the caudate nucleus. The parts were, this is the head, this is the body, then the tail. So it is a large sheet-shaped mass of grey matter which surrounds the thalamus. So what you're having here is the thalamus. So this caudate nucleus is surrounded by the lateral ventricle. So this thing what you're having here is the lateral ventricle which is surrounding the caudate nucleus. So in this diagram, if you see this lateral ventricle, so you're having, so this is forming the anterior horn of lateral ventricle. This is the posterior horn of lateral ventricle. This is the inferior horn. So the head of the caudate nucleus is large and rounded and forms the floor and lateral wall of the anterior horn of the lateral ventricle. In this picture, what you can see, this is the head of caudate nucleus. So here you are having the internal capsule. So the anterior limb, genu, posterior limb of internal capsule, this is the thalamus. These are the lentiform nucleus which is divided into putamen as well as the globus pallidus. So in this picture, what you can see is, you can see the bands of grey matter which connects the head of caudate nucleus to the putamen. So this is across the anterior limb of internal capsule. You can see the caudate nucleus as well as the putamen is being connected with each other by the band of grey matter. So here you can see the head of caudate nucleus is fusing with the lentiform nucleus. So this region what you are seeing here, the region of fusion of the anterior part of head of caudate nucleus with the lentiform nucleus is called the fundus striati. Fundus S-T-R-I-A-T-I. It is called fundus striati. So the body of the caudate nucleus is long and narrow and forms the floor of the central part of lateral ventricle. So what you are seeing here, so this is the tail. So the tail is long and slender and forms the roof of the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. So it terminates anteriorly into the amygdaloid body. So coming to the lentiform nucleus. So what you are having here, so this is forming the lentiform nucleus. So this lentiform nucleus, so they are the large biconvex mass of grey matter which is present beneath the insula. So this region what you are having here, so this is called the insula. So this is the insula. So this lentiform nucleus is present below the insula. So this is the internal capsule. So it is forming the lateral boundary of the internal capsule. In coronal section, it appears as wedge shaped with its broad convex base directed laterally. So this is forming the broad convex base which is facing laterally. So its relations are: medially it is related to the internal capsule, laterally it is separated from the claustrum. So this portion what you're having here, so this is called the claustrum. So laterally it is separated from the claustrum by the external capsule. Superiorly it is related to corona radiata, and inferiorly it is related to sublentiform part of internal capsule. Now coming to the parts of the lentiform nucleus, what you can see is a vertical plate of white matter is called the external or lateral medullary lamina, that is dividing the lentiform nucleus into two parts. So one is the putamen, that is laterally, and medially you are having the globus pallidus. So the putamen, that is the larger lateral part and consists of densely packed small cell. It is darker in color. The globus pallidus is smaller medial part. So it is lighter in color and consists of large motor cell. It is also known as pallidum, as it appears pale in section. So this globus pallidus is again further subdivided by an internal or medial medullary lamina of white matter into outer segments as well as the inner segments. Coming to the connections of the corpus striatum, that is the caudate nucleus, and the putamen is the afferent part, whereas the globus pallidus is the efferent or the outflow part. For the afferent connection, the caudate nucleus and the putamen receives fibers from the cerebral cortex, thalamus and the substantia nigra. So from the cerebral cortex, that is called the corticostriate fibers, from the thalamus, that is thalamostriate fibers, from the substantia nigra, that is the nigrostriate fibers. So now coming to the efferent connection. So here you are having this globus pallidus. From here you can see the fibers which is going in four separate bundles. So one is the fasciculus lenticularis. So what you are having here, fasciculus lenticularis, it is piercing the internal capsule and the fibers are going. Then the ansa lenticularis. So this is the ansa lenticularis. So it is forming like a loop around the internal capsule. Then the subthalamic fasciculus. So this is the subthalamic fasciculus, which is also piercing the internal capsule and going to reach the subthalamic nuclei. Then you are having the pallidonigral fibers. That is from the globus pallidus, few fibers will also go to the substantia nigra. Now coming to the claustrum. So what you are having here, so this is the claustrum. So this claustrum is a thin saucer shaped mass of grey matter which is situated between the putamen and the insula. So what you are having here, so this is the insula, this is the putamen. So it is separated from the putamen by a thin fibers that is called the external capsule. So these fibers what is present here, they are called the external capsule, which is separating it from the putamen. Whereas you can see also here few fibers which is separating it from the insula. So it is separated from insula by a thin layer of white matter from the cortex of the insula. It is functionally related probably to the limbic system. Now coming to the amygdaloid body. So what you are seeing here, so this is the amygdaloid body. It is the almond shaped mass of grey matter present in the temporal lobe. It lies deep to the uncus and is related to the anterior end of the inferior horn of lateral ventricle. So this is the lateral ventricle, this is the inferior horn, this is the anterior end. So it is related over there. It is functionally related to the limbic system. Also you have to know about the substantia nigra. So what the substantia nigra, the large motor nucleus which is present in the midbrain. The nucleus consists of two parts. One is the pars reticularis, another is the pars compacta. So this substantia nigra already we have discussed when we studied about the midbrain. So now coming to the subthalamic nuclei. So this is the subthalamus. So it is a small nucleus present in the ventral part of the diencephalon. It is located caudal to the lateral half of thalamus. So this is the thalamus, and inferior medial to the globus pallidus. So this is the globus pallidus. So inferior medial to it is present. It is separated from the thalamus by a smaller nuclei. So one more small nuclei is present here, that is called the zona incerta. So this nucleus is separating it from the thalamus. The subthalamic nuclei as well as the globus pallidus, so both these are interconnected by the subthalamic fasciculus. So this is the subthalamic fasciculus which is connecting the globus pallidus to the subthalamic nuclei. Coming to the blood supply of basal ganglia, it is supplied by, first is lenticulostriate branches of anterior and middle cerebral artery. Second is anterior choroidal artery, which is a branch from internal carotid artery. The functions of basal ganglia are: it helps in automatic motor functions like maintaining normal erect posture while sitting or standing, or when swinging of the arms during walking. It helps to decrease the muscle tone. It inhibits unwanted muscular activity and prevents involuntary movements. Coming to the clinical importance, first is you are having the Parkinsonism. So this is due to the deficiency of dopamine. Second is you are having chorea, that is involuntary quick jerky movements which is produced. Third is athetosis. So here you are having slow writing movements which is produced involuntarily. Then fourth is balismus. So here the proximal joints, there is movements which is produced, which is highly reflexive and which is violent in nature. Then fifth is Wilson's disease. So this is due to the deposition of copper in the liver. This is due to the degeneration of the lentiform nucleus. Thank you for watching.